Oh. Okay, I'm back, folks. If you watched my last video, I titled it PayPal and routing numbers. And that's because I actually wanted to talk about the routing numbers, but my stomach was growling, so I had to stop, go get a bite to eat. I'm back. We're going to talk about those routing numbers. So, hope everybody's having a good day, enjoying life, living life, loving life. And like I mentioned in the previous video, or the original video with Scott, the thing is that they're placing a public liability because however they want to do it on this guy here, supposedly for acceptance or offering of goods and services somewhere along the line. But the problem is the guy that gave the number, the name and number identify the record, and that record that this guy gave out, the information that this guy gave out, identifies a beneficiary record. Now, if it is given out somewhere, and somebody else out there puts a public liability on it, is it this guy's fault? It can't be. It can't be. Authorized representative, UCC 3-402, tells us that we are not liable on the instrument for the person named in the instrument. This is very plain language. Okay? So, it doesn't come down to who has liability or the fact that the record is wrong. It comes down to the liability lies in the process. Again, like I spoke in my earlier video, I'm not subject to the tax code. And as it clarified, if I don't give them notice within 15 months of being organized, then it's presumed to be a private foundation. Again, very plain language. And that alone tells us that if they don't hear from us, what are they doing communicating with other people? See, they didn't communicate with me. The IRS did not communicate with me. They communicated with PayPal in regards to collection of a debt. In order to communicate with me, they have to have my consent. I have to volunteer to be a defendant to defend any liability. Why would I do that if I know that the liability is in fact the process that wants me to be the defendant? I ain't going to defend none of their shit. None. I'm going to show them where liability lies. Okay. And like I said, liability lies in the process, and the process is dependent upon the jurisdiction, folks. So all you people that have been hitting that PayPal button, first, let me point out, this is my caveat that I've been posting for a long time, because one time through one of my other profiles I saw they announced that Keith Little was selling Live. And it says Facebook Marketplace has made an illicit note of sales ad, which on its face is without standing. This goes the same for PayPal. They have made an illicit note of a sales ad. IRS took note of it through the transactions and told them to tell me I had to file taxes. Okay? So, it says, by the very presumption, your illicit attempt to placard that I placed an ad selling an item is on its face without standing. Please do not attempt this again, as I would take it as an offense of personal character and possible attempt to destroy said character. I do not buy or sell, nor do I have a license to do so, and I have never assigned another to do so for me. Take heed. This is your caveat. The PayPal link is for sharing a representative of value and not purchasing or selling commercial items or goods for export or import. Okay? So Facebook has this caveat, and this is where I put my PayPal link. Notice I don't put a Venmo or a Cash App or anything else, because PayPal is the only venue I use for transits. Okay? Now watch what happens when I click on this, people. Watch and pay attention to the name and number which this record identifies. Keith Orland Little, FBU. Okay? Now, did you guys know PayPal is a bank holding company, and they make a change in bank control? This is a violation of Regulation Y. You cannot take a Social Security routing number, send it through a PayPal routing number, under the auspice of a Bancorp routing number, using a MasterCard routing number, by use of a Social Security number, and convert it outside of that jurisdiction of the beneficiary record. So I don't care who's using one of these routing numbers. I don't give one flying fuck. And changing it from a Social Security number to an obligor. Because that is, in fact, what's happening. What I want people to pay attention here. Keith Orland Little, FBU, as you saw, has a World Wide Web routing number. Okay? Instead of, before you get to the HTTPS URL, there is a World Wide Web routing. Just like on a bank check, you have the routing number, and then you have an account. They're all routing numbers for making transits through or in the jurisdictions, depending upon applicability and enforcement. Now, you can use this link here, WordWise Warrior, at the URL. Notice it does not have the www. It will take you to my site. On my site, you click on Faith-Based Union, FBU. Realize with your real eyes. Keith Orland Little FBU sigil, copyrighted, doing good works. As a private member association, contact me. Feel free. In the meantime, you look over here as the public notice, and you'll notice on every page, the very top note, the header, says hiring an attorney proves one is incompetent. Ye already have counsel. Ask, and ye shall receive. I play no games. Absolute. Now, time, security, note. Folks, pay attention to that number. As we go back to the World Wide Web routing number, what do you think is going to show up, folks? What do you think is going to show up? Do you suppose my site is going to show up? Is it going to go directly to my site like it did? Is it going to show something else? Because, see, there's routes. Not one, but multiple routes. Pay attention. Now, when I click on that, look, there it is. But it didn't go to my page directly, folks. Okay? You guys can use it and do this. Look, and that's the whole page. As I scroll that bar up and down, that's the whole page. There ain't nobody else on this page, folks. And now you can click the link. And boom. If you think I don't know what I'm talking about, pay attention. Because on that site, you will see adoptions and you will see notices. In that, you will see that I adopted the Constitution of the Universal Postal Union, which indentures both the Law of Nations and the Treaty of Berne through the United Nations. The first article, second sentence, freedom of transit is guaranteed throughout the entire territory of the Union. Now, I pose that because they've got a different routing number somewhere than that Social Security number, that would reflect in, on, and for the record that they hold an inconsistent record. And since mine only has the one routing number, I'm the one that holds a consistent record. So think about this stuff, people, and pay attention. I don't have a name. I don't have a number. Through my faith, based in love and unity, I have created patent observations that everyone has the right to post in the public domain. And they have the right to do so without a post office of any kind. You don't need an army post office. You don't need a military post office. You don't need an inland marine installation post office. You don't need a diplomatic post office. You just have to know how to marshal your posts. In other words, put your post in order. Marshal, put in order. That's why they're called field marshals. So again, yes, Dylan, realize the real lies with your real eyes. And always remember, folks, on paper, even your own name is nothing but a pen name, because that's the only way it reaches the paper. The real man is very much different. Take the wind out of their sails. And every unjustifiable intrusion, the right to be let alone, the most comprehensive of rights and the right most valued by civilized men, to protect that right, every unjustifiable intrusion by the government upon the privacy of the individual, whatever the means employed, must be deemed a violation of the Fourth Amendment. Olmstead versus U.S. 277, U.S. 438, 478, 1928. To promote the progress of science and useful arts. Y'all do recognize that, don't you? WordWiseWarrior.art. It is not a .com extension. You have choices. By securing for limited times to authors and inventors the exclusive right to their respective writings and discoveries. Copyrights and patents. You guys know that the U.S. cannot hold copyright and patent because they are a fiction. The only ones that can have any kind of supposed copyright is people. And they can only copyright personal materials. Everything placed in the public domain is patent. It is patent. It is observable. It is already existent. Okay? Copyright and the First Amendment. It's a direct nexus to being able to create. Like I said, in order to create something and produce it on a public record or a private record for others to observe, it must first come from your own observation, interpretation, and then representation. Think about this, folks. And again, remember, I love you. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be doing this. Routing numbers are so important. If you know the confluence of how they route things and you provide your own private security, they can't touch you. I don't have to have a trust designed. It's stated in trust terms on the site. It's been established. It is a foundation. It is not organized. Anybody's welcome. So again, watch these last 3 videos I did today, and remember, learn how to put your truth on the record, and quit allowing everybody else to put this false shit in and then say you are liable. They're the ones holding the fucking record. All I got is a little card that says I'm a holder as a beneficiary, authorized signatory, telling you that I'm not liable. I am the end user. Clear. So anyway, have a good day, and remember, keep sharing everything. On all three of my videos, I got all my different forums and stuff. Make sure you share those, share all the information, and please hit that PayPal button despite. But when you do, send it through friends and family. Instead of just sending a donation, make sure you find out where to send it. I don't send it, so I'm on the receiving end. So I don't know how the page looks. I've never sent it. So when you're on your end sending a donation or sending money to somebody or anybody that's not an online service or providing goods or services, then it should be done under friends and family. That way it enters in as a non-taxable gift. Transit from place of origin to final destination. Freedom of transit is guaranteed throughout the entire territory of the Union, folks. Like I've been telling you, all you got to do is know how to express it, how it plays in the game, and how to assert it. So again, have a good night, and I'll talk to you next time.